Jacob Kirkbride, SAFC Fan TV, and today is a very special day for all Sunderland fans as the 2020-2021 fixtures have finally been announced and Sunderland kick off their season on Saturday, the 12th of September at home to Bristol Rovers. Bowers, what is your reaction to that?
Good game to start with, although Bristol Rovers have been getting business done quite early in the window, so they can be quite, it depends on what their aim is, they could be quietly confident of trying to upset the apple cart this year. But for me, it's a very winnable fixture. It's not an easy one. No game in this league will be an easy fixture. And as we know, the last game of last season, Bristol Rovers beat us quite comfortably down the Memorial Stadium, so which I had the misfortune of going to, actually. But for this game, we're going to be coming up against Jack Baldwin as well, former Sunderland defender who obviously signed for Bristol Rovers in the summer. So it's not the best, it's not the easiest of games, but I don't think it's the hardest of games on paper anyway. We don't know what, obviously we'll know what happens when the game kicks off, and it'll be interesting to see how we get on, because I'm sure these first couple of home games at least are going to be without any fans. So that's going to be interesting to see how our players deal with with it, because obviously it depends whether they're going to have pressure from the home fans, and I don't believe that that's an excuse for them. But it could be a factor. It could be a factor in that. So it's important though that we, especially, and I'm sure we'll talk about this with the first few games we've got that actually are quite difficult. We need to beat Bristol Rovers just to give ourselves the confidence and give ourselves a sure footing going into those matches.
Yeah, I mean, it's winnable on paper, but it'll be interesting if Bristol also keep striker Clark Harris as well, because he's their main threat at the moment. But moving on to the rest of the month, the first away game we've got of the season is a trip to Oxford United. Tough game. They finished in the playoffs last season. Definitely. And we end the month on the 26th of September at home to Peterborough United. But it will be a very different Peterborough team to what we saw last season, because it looks like a lot of their best players will be leaving. But how would you evaluate that first month overall? Where do you see, how many points do you see us picking up from those 3 games?
How many points do I see us picking up? About 5 or 6. How many is acceptable? At least 7. I think that you've got to look at, I think 7 points from those 3 games, I think is actually a pretty good return for September. I think because our aim is, I don't care what anybody says, our aim is top 2. That's what it should be, regardless whether people think the squad's capable or not. That's what the aim's got to be. And I think that, I think we should be, if we're at our best, we should be able to beat Bristol Rovers. Even if it's narrowly, I would expect to win that game if we apply ourselves. But obviously, it's not a guarantee. Oxford, I think we are capable of beating. We took 4 points off them last season. Peterborough, as you said, it's interesting because obviously Marcus Maddison's, I know obviously we're going about this Maddison saga drags on a lot, but Maddison tore us to shreds at Peterborough last year. He's not there anymore. Ivan Toney looks like he's could be off to Brentford. And you've got Smodics as well, who we've been linked with, but it depends whether he's still there. Like you said, it's not going to be the same Peterborough team. But out of those first 3 games, not the easiest. If you'd offered me 7 points now, I probably would accept that.
I mean, we touched on 2 out of the first 3 home games are at the Stadium of Light, and it looks like, well, it's definite for now that there'll be no fans in for those games at home. When we're down at the Stadium of Light, whenever we're losing games, it is a tough place to be for players. It'll be interesting to see without the crowd how the players respond in those opening 2 games. But if they play well, really, it shouldn't be an excuse though, should it? I mean, that will just make things look a lot worse on paper, because the fact they're performing without us fans being there is a bit of a downgrader.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think, we've touched on Will Grigg as an example of this. And I know, obviously, I think you said in a couple of shows ago that it says a lot about him as a player when he performs best when there's no fans there. But for me, I think I don't think we're going to get another striker in personally. So I think if O'Brien's not going to be up front, we've got to get the best out of Will Grigg. I just think that, and look, I'd rather we got rid of him and got someone who does, if he does want to be here. But if Will Grigg has moved up to the area, and if he's actually, this is all ifs and buts, if he's actually, applying himself well in training, then I think just use these 3 games behind closed doors as a chance to get his confidence up. Get as many balls into that box as possible. And if he starts well, then it could bode well for when fans come back. But I do get your point. If we apply ourselves in the 2 home games, then fair enough, it shouldn't be an issue. But like I said, we just get off to a good start. That's all you can do, and it snowballs from there.
Yeah. On to some key dates for the rest of the campaign. Saturday, October the 3rd, away to Charlton Athletic. The first game against Portsmouth of the new season, Saturday, October the 24th at the Stadium of Light. Then a home game against both our games against Ipswich this season are midweek. So our first encounter with Ipswich, Tuesday, 3rd of November at the Stadium of Light. And then an away trip to Ipswich is Tuesday, the 26th of January. But all the big talking point right now, especially on social media, a Boxing Day home visit of Hull City to the Stadium of Light. I mean, if that's, I'm just picturing it now, that could be the first game where all the fans will be allowed back in. Like, potentially Corona would have gone away and we can look to potentially even beat the 46,000 we had against Bradford back in 2018. Well,
it would also depend on what's happening with away fans at that point. If Hull fans, for example, aren't allowed to come up here, then we could have a full stadium of potentially anyway. Do I see it? Not particularly. It depends.
I'm just being ambitious, but it's very unlikely.
It depends if we get this second wave or not. If we don't get a second wave, then I could see it potentially happening. But that's a big game. Any Boxing Day, especially at the Stadium of Light, any Boxing Day game is huge. And I think you're right. I think if Hull fans in particular aren't allowed at the ground, then we could very much beat that record. Obviously, by default, there being no away fans, but still, it's a big game. Hull themselves are going to, I mean, obviously, we've got Hull as our first game of the season in all competitions, I think. So Hull are going to be looking to bounce straight back up. And they signed Greg Doherty the other day, who looks a really good acquisition. So I'm hoping so. It's always great, but you're right, it is always great to get the Boxing Day at Stadium Light, isn't it? I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. On to the end of the season now. I'll just read out our last five. Saturday, April the 17th, Blackpool away. Then a Tuesday night trip to Hull City. So that'll be a tough one. They could be right up with us at the top of the table at that point. Fingers crossed, hopefully. Saturday, April the 24th, home to Accrington Stanley. Saturday, the 1st of May, away to Plymouth Argyle. And we end the season Saturday, May the 8th, at home to Northampton Town.
Yeah, that's not the worst set. Well, obviously, I know Blackpool and Hull, I think, will be quite tough. But, and like I said, every game's going to be. I hate using this, those games will be tough, but those games won't be, because everyone's going to want to beat one.
Yeah, exactly.
So, we're going to have to apply ourselves that way. But obviously, in terms of fixtures at the end of the season, those last three, Accrington, Plymouth and Northampton, I think it was, those last three games can be quite good to sort of try and end the season on, because it depends on it obviously depends where they're all going to be in the league. Obviously, we're saying this without a ball having been kicked yet. So, but those last three games, particularly if we're in the hunt for top two, those are not about three bad games to end the season with, I think.
Yeah, and obviously Wigan, who have just come down from the Championship, at home to them first on Saturday, December the 5th, and then away to Wigan, the reverse fixture Saturday, March the 13th. I can imagine Wigan being a packed out away day. That's one away day that a lot of our fans will be looking forward to this season.
Same here. I mean, I haven't been to Wigan yet, but I've heard it's apparently a really good away day. So I'm going to try and DW if we can. Obviously it depends with what's happened with Wigan's situation as well, because I think Kiefer Moore's potentially going to Cardiff. I don't know if that's stalled since last time we heard about it. It depends if they can keep their place. But so look, that's good. That's going to be a good away day. I've not been to the DW, but I think that's one I do plan to go to if we can make it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the big debate on Twitter, looking at the fixture list here, we've been given away trips to Ipswich Town and Portsmouth in the middle of the week. Now, for me, I understand we've got a massive fan base all over the country, but in terms of Sunderland fans going all the way down to Ipswich and Portsmouth in the middle of the week when they potentially got work the next day, just doesn't seem. I think it's just really bad on the EFL that we've been given that personally. I mean, I don't know what you guys think.
I agree with that. I mean, and to be fair, it's obviously not just, obviously we're talking in the context of Sunderland, but Newcastle, for example, have had loads of ridiculous away trips in midweek, which is the Premier League in that case, or even Middlesbrough, you could argue, if you count them as a North East team in the Championship. The governing bodies just really don't seem to care about how away fan, this is a long trip. Portsmouth to Sunderland.
Yeah.
Sorry, Portsmouth or Sunderland, Ipswich, that's a good 6-7 hours at least, probably longer. And again, when you have it in midweek, when people have work the next day, and remember again, Sunderland is an area where, you know, work is, you don't exactly get paid the most, so you need to be at work as much as possible, really, to get a good income. But so that's a joke. But it just goes to show the EFL have shown it with what's happened with Charlton, what's happened with Wigan, Bolton, Bury, and the same here. They don't give two monkeys about the fans. It's a sad state of affairs, but it doesn't seem like they do.
I mean, you touched on one of our live shows. It'll be interesting if fans boycott, how many fans boycott away games because of this salary cap that's put in place. But myself, I'll go because I love the club through thick and thin, but it'll be interesting to see how many fans would go down that route.
Well, for me, put it this way, I might end up being a muppet later and contradict myself and go anyway because I'm an idiot. So you never know. So watch out. So just in case, watch out for that. I'll probably watch me go to every away game I can, despite me saying I might boycott. But yeah, look, some fans will boycott, some fans won't want to. Everyone's got their own prerogative, and we can't fault whatever anyone ever does. Like again, yourself, a passionate Sunderland fan. Wanting to go to most away games. Fair play to you. Fair play to every Sunderland fan. No, I don't go to every away game. I probably go to half a dozen a season, and that's it. But there's people that can go week in and week out all the time. How they've got the money and the patience and the time for that, I applaud them completely. Fantastic set of people.
Yeah. What do you think with these fixtures is our toughest run-in? Personally, I think October is looking very tough. 7 games, Charlton away, Blackpool at home, Swindon away, Crewe home, Portsmouth at home, and then trips to Rochdale and Gillingham to end the month. And also we begin November with a home game against Ipswich. But like you touched on, all games are going to be hard. It's all about how the team respond in tough situations.
Exactly. Well, what's the fixtures in April? Because I think I saw that, if I remember rightly, in April, we've actually not got the easiest of running. Certainly the start of April.
So on Good Friday at home to Oxford United, then on Easter Monday away to Peterborough, and then Saturday, April the 10th at home to Charlton Athletic. So 3 very tough games there during the Easter period.
I think if you look at it in terms of runs, I think the run we've got after Bristol Rovers, the very start of the season, when you've got Oxford away, Peterborough at home, Charlton away, and Blackpool at home, who could be a surprise underdog here. And even in April, you've got Blackpool away and Hull away, I think, in the space of 3-4 days. And that's just after playing, I think it's Oxford, Peterborough, and Charlton. So thankfully, there's not one stretch of games where it wasn't like February last year, where we had Portsmouth, Ipswich, Oxford, Fleetwood, Coventry, all packed within 1 month, or packed within 6 to 8 weeks or whatever it was. So those are quite equally difficult run-ins. And those are the run-ins so we're going to find out whether Sunderland have the bottle to be competing for the top 2 spots.
Yeah. I mean, the reason I say that is the toughest run-in because we need to have our best team in place then and like the right squad depth to get through those games because injuries do happen frequently, especially at the start of the season.
Well, exactly. But correct me if I'm wrong, during October, isn't that when the transfer window finishes?
I think it's right at the start. I mean, I'm not sure how it
whatever.
works for League One and League Two clubs. Loans could be, you could make loans just after that. But yeah, we do need a decent squad depth in place for that month, I would say.
Exactly. And again, and especially given this season, and bearing in mind, you're not just talking league here, you're going to have EFL trophy games, League Cup games, FA Cup games, and FA Cup games, obviously, especially early doors, have replays as well. You know, we're going to need a squad depth size, and that's why we desperately need to bring in another good 5-6 players if we can. I mean, Phil Parkinson said he wants another 5. So, you know, and obviously it's got to be, like Jamsani said on his video, it's got to be actual strength in depth. It can't just be 5 people who can't play football to save their lives. It's got to be 5 people, even with the salary cap. I still believe we could get at least 5 very handy squad players for this division. And that's what we've got to be targeting, whether it's a salary cap or not.
I mean, a period where fans really enjoy is the festive period, especially going away from home. During that time, Tuesday, 15th of December, AFC Wimbledon at home. Saturday, December the 19th, a trip to Shrewsbury Town. Then the Boxing Day whole game, which I can imagine will be a packed out stadium of hopefully, fingers crossed. That depends if Corona's still here or not. Yeah. Tuesday, December the 29th, the trip to Accrington Stanley. And then starting the new year, January the 2nd, a trip to Northampton.
Yeah, you can't beat. You can't. Well, especially when you're a football fanatic like we are, you can't. Or like many fans are. To be fair, you love these. You love these. What is it? What I'm looking for? Festive fixtures. When it's like a pile-on of 7 or 8 games in the space of December, early January, you just can't beat it. You can't beat it. And obviously again now with the current situation, you're gonna have a lot of games packed into midweeks anyway because of the season starting a good month or 6 weeks later. So no, I'm looking forward to it. The same way every fan will be.
Yeah, and speaking of midweek, we've been given Hull City, who've just come down from the Championship. We've been given them on a Tuesday night as well, and that's one of our last 4 games of the season. So that will be a big one to watch.
You've got Hull, Ipswich, and Portsmouth. They're all long trips. So,
what away day, Bowers, are you looking forward to most this season? And obviously, what home game are you looking forward to most at the Stadium of Light?
Okay. I look forward to every home game that's really winnable, to be honest.
Yeah, every game's massive this season now. We've got to get out of this league.
It's got, well, obviously, the aim, again, like I said, the aim's top 2. Our home form is going to be massive. And obviously, we need to pick up consistent enough wins. We need to probably win 2/3 of our away games if we can. But at home, especially, you've got to win a good 90% of them if you have any chance of getting into the top 2. For away games, I'm trying to think of Wigan. That's obviously one of them because it's game. I'm trying to think of games I haven't done. Wigan, although I have done Blackpool actually, so I'll contradict myself again, but Blackpool's always a good day out. Trying to think of another one. I would have said, well, actually, I would have possibly said Pompey if it wasn't midweek.
Fratton Park's very old school, brilliant atmosphere. I went last season, terrific.
Oh, fair enough then, lad. Hull, actually, to be fair, I think Hull, even though that's midweek, I think Hull could potentially be a decent one. Obviously, we're both, but obviously that's quite late in the season, so it depends if we're competing at the top. What about you? What game are you looking forward to? Any away games or home in particular?
Where I'm based in North London, or teams in and around London, I was looking forward to the likes of Oxford and Charlton, but they've been put right at the start of the season, so it looks like no fans will be allowed in at all for that. But it'll be Northampton, I would say only about an hour and a half's drive from me. It'll be interesting to experience a new ground. So, Northampton right at the start of 2021. Potentially I'll be looking to do that. So, yeah, that is one I'll be looking forward to.
Could you see yourself, how many of the promoted clubs' grounds could you see yourself going to if away fans are allowed back in?
Northampton. Crewe. Crewe would be good. Shame I can't do Swindon as that's in October, which it doesn't look like fans will be in then. One trip that I'm looking forward to, hopefully, Saturday, January the 16th, a trip to AFC Wimbledon's new Plough Lane Stadium, which would be good for many fans to visit to.
I debated going there. I debated going to that game last season, obviously before COVID happened. So that one I would consider going to. Especially because AFC Wimbledon seems a very family-friendly community club. A lot of clubs are down this level, but AFC Wimbledon in particular is a good. There's just something nice about them. I don't know what it is.
And obviously a ground that you went to last season, Bristol Rovers, Saturday, March the 27th. Will you be making a trip down there again, Bowers, this season?
If I can persuade Sean to drive all the way there and back, then yeah, probably.
You got the supporters bus last time, didn't you?
But that because that was in midweek, and because it gets back like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, you don't have to wait. It's not as bad. I think away trips that long in midweek aren't as bad. Whereas on a weekend, you've got you have to leave at like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, and then you don't get back to like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. All I'm hoping is if I do go to Bristol Rovers, can I please have a much better result this time?
I got a better luck of the draw when I went down in the 2018-19 season for the Checkatrade semi-final. It was the best trip back I've ever been.
you go for your win, and I see Clark Harris do us over.
Yeah, all over our defence.
That's fair. Thanks, Sunderland.
Yeah. Also, if Blackpool away this season, we'll be hopeful to get a decent pre-match atmosphere with that one as well, because obviously that was called off right at the start of the COVID-19 lockdown. So yeah, and it's right at the end of the season as well. So hopefully nice weather and just a great day overall.
Yeah, I think, maybe we should try and do that. Try and do an SAFC Fan TV special. Just have the 6 of us just go down to Blackpool and go a week beforehand.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, let us know in the comments below what game are you looking forward to most this season, and also let us know what do you think is the hardest run-in we've got. Bring on the new season. How are the lads from everyone here on SAFC Fan TV? Keep the faith. Bring on 2020, 2021.
How are the lads?